If you are new to the web development and web design, you might have heard something about the CSS processors like Sass. But what exactly it does and when you should use it? So first, what it does. It adds special features into regular CSS, making the code process simpler, well-organized and more efficient. Helps to reduce repetition with CSS and saves time. Sass, or Syntactically Awesome Style Sheets, is CSS extension. To use it, you must have Ruby installed. Sass allows you to use variables, nested rules, inline imports, built-in functions to manipulate color and more. When should you use it? First, only after learning the basics of CSS. You should be good with the core concepts before trying to simplify things. And of course it takes time to learn all new features. Second, it is good in structuring the code that becomes difficult to maintain. By using different features, you can reduce the amount of code, and less code means less time spent on writing it. But if several developers are working in a project, it is important to use the same preprocessor or edit CSS directly, otherwise it would be difficult to work on a site. Now let's look at some features that you can use with Sass. And one of them is the ability to store information in variables that you can use throughout your CSS, like color, fonts, width, and other CSS values you think you'll want to reuse. But you can't send Sass code directly to the browser, it won't know what to do with it. Instead, you need to use the Sass preprocessor to translate the Sass code into standard CSS, a process known as transpiling. When the Sass file is transpiled, the following CSS is produced. Another important feature is nesting. Sass lets you nest CSS selectors in the same way as HTML. This helps you to organize your code and make it readable. With Import Directive, you can keep related code in separate files. It allows you to include one file in another. You can create small files with CSS snippets to include in other Sass files. The Mixin directive lets you create CSS code, groups of CSS declarations that can be reused throughout the website. A good example is in case of using the vendor prefixes, you can use a Mixin instead. And one more feature that I consider very useful is Sass Extend Directive. It lets you share a set of CSS properties from one selector to another. Your selectors can inherit the styles of other selectors and then be easily extended when required. With this directive, you won't have to include multiple class names on your HTML elements and can keep your code dry. Sass allows you to perform calculations, like converting pixel values into percentages. It also includes a few built-in functions like percentage, floor, and round to help manipulate numbers. And there are a lot of other useful things that you can do with Sass. It extends the basic CSS features and raises your productivity. So if you are working on a big project, it could be really helpful and time-saving. Please write in comments why you've decided to become a web developer and what topics you are interested in. And if you want to be the first to watch such free educational videos, please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Have a good week and see you next Tuesday.